welcome back to my channel. Today it is going to be a review about the book Room. Where do I even begin? This video might be a little bit short, but I kind of feel like I might just end up doing that with all review videos. I didn't take notes on the book, but I did really thoroughly enjoyed the book a lot. I did watch the movie prior to watching the book because I didn't know it was based off of a book. Typical me. It was written by Emma Donoghue. Room is based off of a kidnapping of a girl who I believe, I cannot remember what her name is. So it's told through the perspective of her son, and her son's name is Jack. And she's pretty much been stuck in this small room and was kidnapped by this older guy who they call Old Nick, and she has been stuck there for almost like 7 years, and her son was born in this room. They've never left, and pretty much she has been finding ways to try to escape, and the guy who kidnapped her basically just like provides as very little as he can for both of their needs. It is just a really eye-opener experience to read. I really enjoyed it. I remember when I first saw the movie, I thought it was really great. You do read it through the perspective of her son, so the first like few chapters it's kind of hard to figure out what's happening because he's talking about, like, I think he's like 4 or 5 when you get introduced by the book, and he's like talking about like, oh, like here's sink and here's TV and, you know, TV people, and like nobody exists outside of room except me and Ma, and the whole entire experience, like you can tell, like it has shaped his life. And I like just reading it, it was a really big eye-opener, because to me it was like trying to imagine like this kid, this was his whole entire world, was this, I think it was like 5 by 5 or some kind of like very small room where like this is your life and you don't realize that there's so much more. And to me that was really mind-blowing that this author could write that way. It is a great movie. She also actually helped co-write the movie as well, and I just thought it was great. By the end of it, there is an overarching story of depression and like escape and whatnot, and you see how it's taken a toll on both of their lives, even though he sees that he saw it all as a positive and she saw it all as a negative. But it was a really great story, and I would recommend for anybody to read it. So for spoilers, that was like the short synopsis, and I recommend anybody to go read it before you watch the movie. And for people who have read it and have seen the movie, here is the spoiler version of my review. So for this book, there was a lot to like hone in. There were some parts where like I did think that was kind of like slow paced, like, oh, okay, like it kind of makes sense that like, you know, this is how they live their lives, and like, oh, he's having a birthday, and oh, he thinks like, you know, the rat is his friend because he's never actually seen a rat, and like the spiders are his friends. And it was just really sweet to see everything through his eyes, but at the same time it was very weird experiencing it because, you know, you're an adult and you're reading this through a child's eyes, and you're like, oh my god, that's so sweet that you think that, but in reality it's so bad and so negative that like I didn't know what to think of it. There was a lot going through my head. I really thought, to be honest, there were so many ways I kept thinking of like how I would try to escape. I felt so bad for this girl, because then I like realizing that she had to do the things that she did to this man for 7 years. And then you find out that she had a miscarriage, and all of that was kind of a lot. And because I did read this book through a book club, some of my cousins, because I'm a part of a book club with my cousins, they were like, oh, why do you think that she told him that nothing else outside of the world existed? And some of them were like, I think that was kind of really messed up that she did that. And then some of my cousins were like, oh, well, like I think that like she did it just to protect him. I don't know what you would do in that situation. Like for me, I probably would kind of tell him eventually, but I don't think I would have told him in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a child and they don't know anything. Plus, if you had told your child, oh yeah, you're stuck here, you can't get out, they're probably gonna want to try to get out, and if they try to, you don't know if this person's gonna kill your child. You know, like, to me, like that was just my thought process. But one thing that I really appreciated more in the book than I did in the movie was that you also see more of their interactions outside of room, and to me that's what really like hit more than them being in the room per se. Just because the movie was really close to them being in the room, but they didn't really talk too much about them being outside the room. And to me, it kind of almost reminded me of how, like, you know, people who are in captivity or, you know, only experience one thing for the rest of their life in like a certain country, and then they experience it somewhere else, and they're kind of just like used to this certain behavior. And I didn't know that originally it was written that that they were both outside of the hospital for a week. So it had just been a week, and like all of the things that they were experiencing, it was kind of mind-blowing that like we went from one really extreme to like a complete normal. And just seeing like her downward spiral and then her getting better, and then seeing how her son kind of like just got over everything and kind of would eventually move on because he was a little kid. And like just seeing like how they treated it through the news and all of this, it was like it felt almost like a real story, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. And I think that's how much that's the reason why I enjoyed the story so much, because I felt so real. One thing some of my family members were talking about, like, why do you think that she brought them back to see Room at the end? And like I think personally for me, it was just because they needed closure, because, you know, they left. She made him do this really crazy escape mission, which was traumatizing in and of itself, you know, and then all of a sudden just like never really saying goodbye to it, even though I know, you know, it was a really bad place to be in. But at the same time, you kind of do need to like say goodbye to traumatic things and just realize, hey, it happened, it's a part of me now, I need to move on from it, you know. And to me, I like the message behind the story, and I appreciate the fact that, you know, like this could happen to anybody, and, you know, to always fight for wanting a better life, pretty much, you know. Because to me, like, there's a lot of lessons to be learned within the story. And my family actually, they were like, oh, I wonder if it was based on a true story. I was doing some research because I got really bored one day, and then I was watching the movie, and I was like, oh my god, I love the movie and I love the actors, and I thought the kid who played the boy was so great, and I thought that they played really great actors, and it was based off of a true story. I found out that it was not based off of it was kind of based off of a true story, but not really. There was a report about a man who basically kidnapped his own daughter, and the mother didn't know about it. She thought that her daughter had left or ran away, and it turns out he had kidnapped her and kept her in their basement and was sexually assaulting her for more than a few years, and then she ended up fathering his children, and then he ended up getting arrested. It was interesting to find that something like that could happen, and I just did a lot of research, and then I went down a rabbit hole of things, and I told my family, and they were like, oh my god, like, I didn't know that, that's really messed up, and like, wow, like, and she wrote a story about it. So, but I thought it was a really great story, and nothing original, but the book, I think it's really well deserved, and I thought it was just really great, and I loved it so much. I really felt for both characters. I felt so bad for the boy, because at the same time I was like, I feel like he just needs like time and needs to like grow and just learn more. Also, finding out that they end up moving to an apartment and don't stay with her parents is kind of interesting. I don't know if I like that part or not, because I just felt that it was kind of like me taking it a little bit too far, and it was just a lot to like. I understand it's a book, and like you do have to like jump here and there, but like after a week it was kind of really weird that all of a sudden they went to an apartment. But other than that, I liked everything else. I just kind of felt that part just really didn't sit well with me. But I mean, it is a fictional story based kind of off of a true story, and I thought the movie was really good too. I didn't think that like it strayed too much away from the original content. I mean, there were some things that they had to cut here and there, but it was a really great story and I would recommend anybody to read it. And if you guys enjoyed it, like, leave comments about what you thought about the story. Did you like it? Did you not? What were some of your favorite scenes? Open for discussion and whatnot. I thought it was a really great story. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see all of you guys in the next one. Bye.